I'm Amber Fortune, and I'm on the Untold interview.
Today's female rappers versus 20 years ago, how females presented themselves.
And honestly, that's like music in a whole. 20 years ago, it was read in between the lines, or certain things were implied. And then, 10 years ago was like, okay, it's not as applied as much anymore. Like, what people are talking about. Nowadays, it's literally third grade education. Just throw it right there out in your face. It's like a thing of instant gratification that wasn't there 20 years ago. Like, most artists don't build up a story anymore or have an air of mystery about themselves. And then with, of course, social media and everything being like right there at your fingertips, there's no filters or censors. So it's great to have a team behind you or people behind you that's going to be like, hey, you can't do this in that way because you have a brand to represent. You're not just representing yourself, you're representing a company as a whole.
I agree. Female rappers, do you think they are exploiting themselves a little too much?
Female rappers have always been exploited. Especially in regards to the rap game, it's always been a male-dominated industry. So even if you think about the female rappers from 20 years ago, was always talking about physical aspects of themselves or selling sex or putting their body on display, basically. And nowadays, it's more so, but it's degraded a lot. Like the female rappers, Foxy Brown or Lil Kim, Eve, Queen Latifah, Rod Digga in that era does not exist anymore. Now you're literally throwing them out there with bras and panties on and barefoot and just saying that they're rappers, and then it's not even benefiting. It's like, honestly, it's contributing to the downgrade of urban youth in our society.
Now, you spoke about Little Kim and Foxy.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were raunchy, but they weren't raunchy to the point where it's like you didn't really hear them speak or be. I mean, you heard about their little dramas and stuff like that, but not like.
Are we talking about Lil Kim?
We're talking about Little Kim, the whole Biggie face of it.
Did you see her picture?
Yes.
I think she birthed the ratchetness.
Yeah, so that was the beginning of it.
Wait a minute, hold up. No, Adina Howard.
Okay.
Adina Howard, and then it pretty much led to Little Kim. I think she took it to a different level.
Right.
But she was being guided by
males.
Yeah.
Right. So and it's crazy because the only platform that female rappers have is sex sells. Basically, nowadays, it's like, it's called musical prostitution, I guess. It's like, are you a rapper or are you just are you marketing yourself to the highest bidder in the way of music? Like label covers. And don't get me wrong, I love Megan Thee Stallion, but one of her last album covers or single covers, fully naked, full blown naked. Cardi B, full blown naked.
And they don't leave
nothing to the imagination.
To the imagination.
Exactly. But in comparison to, that Little Kim album cover, I mean, there was stuff still covered up, but you still had some type of imagination about it. Even though she was like the godmother of all the debauchery.
She was. Can female rappers come out and, rap to the same pedigree as the male rapper without taking their clothes off, without putting all of this, junk on?
I mean, in a perfect world, in an ideal world, it would be nice, but unfortunately, that's not how it's been in the history. Like, even if you take Motown and things like that, from the beginning of labels basically being created for musical, women have always been guided by men, but men are visual creatures. So if you want to catch somebody's attention, what you're going to do, you're going to present yourself in a way that's visually appeasing in order to capture that attention and everything. Now, there's a lot of female rappers out here that can go bar for bar with guys, but unfortunately, the way that labels or distribution and things like that work, they don't want to hear mentally conscious things like that or spiritually conscious things like that from female rappers. No, throw on a thong and twerk on stage, and there you go.
Once upon a time, women did not like being called the B word.
Right. Now it's everywhere. I remember when television was censored, you can't even curse on TV. And now it's everywhere. I think it's honestly, it's a deteriorate our society. And they say if you want to influence future generations, put it into music or television, basically. And it, because they're the most the most what's the word I'm looking for? Impressionable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Today's topic. Rapper Remy Ma.
Mm-hmm.
And her
She's the reason why I like Remy Martin.
Oh, for real?
The drink, yeah. Yeah. But that's crazy. These past couple of days, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, they've been trending this past week. But I think, honestly, everybody been waiting for this all 2024 when she came out with a guy on her battle. What was it? It was like this battle rap league she owns.
23.
Yep. And I guess the guy that she's dealing with was battling another guy, basically. I don't know his name specifically.
Easy the Block Captain versus Geechee Gotti.
Right. So Geechee Gotti calls out Remy Ma for dealing with Easy the Block Captain. Now, everybody feels for Pep, right? Because he held her down for 8 summers and 8 winters while she did her bid and everything like that. And so for it to come out that you're dealing with somebody on your battle league that feels fine to basically disrespect your husband who's been riding for you, I would think everybody would side with Papoose in regards to that. But I also I take the step of playing in the middle, because you don't never really know what's going on in people's personal lives outside of what you see that's being presented to you. Shoot, who knows? Pap could have been a serial cheater and anything, doing Remy dirty behind the scenes. But the way that her relationship came out with Easy the Block Captain was less than desirable. Even if you guys are going through things in regards to your marriage and your personal relationship, don't you make these dudes sign NDAs?
Now, you do know that's speculation because neither one of them came out and said that.
Well, allegedly.
Right.
Okay.
So, are we just going to address the whole Papoose situation of him holding her down for 8 years when there are multiple women, regular women, that do that every day?
That's crazy. So, right. It's funny that you say that. So it's like, for women, we're expected to be the backbone, the stronghold for our family units or whoever we're with. So if a guy goes away and do a bid and stuff like that, we're expected to hold him down, don't deal with nobody, mess with nobody else, be loyal, be faithful, keep that thing on lock or whatever. And then that's just expected and applied, but there's no type of appreciation or acknowledgement of that. So when a guy does it, because it's very rare that a guy would do it for a woman and everything, he's the best thing in the world. Even if he is stepping out on the side, my chick booked for damn near a decade or whatever, I'm gonna, do my thing. But how Papoose presented it, he never let his stuff be brought to light, even if he was dealing with somebody when she was locked down, or even if they're going through their marital strife. It was never brought out to the public. It came to a head when it was Remy was exposed. And it's crazy because I feel like that she could have had a better handle on that in regards to the people that's around her.
Now, was she exposed, or they just put out dirty laundry?
I mean, you're exposing dirty laundry.
Okay. Well, in this entertainment business, I believe that married couples, they pretty much have the understanding. I know that you're going to go out there and do what you're going to do because you are who you are.
But don't bring no shame to our home and our unit. And marriage is a business too. Don't do anything that's going to mess up our business.
Right.
We're human. There's always room for human error and things like that. But I don't agree with them going back and forth on social media trying to expose each other and stuff like that. Who are you really doing this for? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it to get what's the word, acknowledgement or some type of praise or attention from people that don't even know you personally? And I feel like that's messy. That's messy as hell, and it leaves a bad stain on the legacy that you created for yourself.
Now, the perception that we have of both of them is Black couple, black love.
Mhm.
So did we paint this picture or did they paint that picture?
We painted this picture. Honestly, anything that we see for ourselves is a projection. Like we're projecting our wants, our desires, and our hopes off onto these people that are on these public stages and things like that. So again, we don't necessarily know what's going on with them behind closed doors, but the narrative that we have is like, oh, okay, you guys are the epitome of a black love power couple, especially in the entertainment industry. And so we assume that, y'all have a stronghold, so when something does fall apart, it's like you got two ways to go about it. Either you clean it up the cleanest way possible by being as quiet as possible, or you just go deeper down the rabbit hole and start exposing each other like we're 12 on
Right.
social media. Like I don't believe in that. Everything is not for everybody, and I don't think what's going on in your household should be exposed to the masses like that.
I totally agree. Both of their side pieces are going public as well.
And I feel and the boxer chick, what's her name? Clarissa. Yeah. And it's just like what was the one screenshot that was like, I'm just looking for some time, some flowers and attention. So Pap finally posts a picture of him with her, what was it, like Friday? Because she had a match or something like that.
Okay.
And she looked so happy in that picture. I'm like, oh, you're finally getting the acknowledgement you want, but it's not the acknowledgement that you want, babe, because you got it on the aftermath or basically in a storm of this married couple going through it, and now it's exposed that you're his side piece. And Remy, you ain't had to post that lady whole number like that. Like, you could have blocked that out. Lady had to probably change her number.
I wonder how many people called.
I'm pretty sure she got her number changed by Saturday. Yeah.
Nobody wins when the family feud.
Exactly.
I believe that the children that's a part of this,
they're going to be affected. And then, they got to go to school and deal with their peers. And they're young, so it's like they don't have the mental capacity or tools to be able to deal with that. All they know is like, oh, wow, now my mom and my dad or whoever the case may be is feuding. And then now I'm going to be clowned on or bullied because of it. And you got to think about those things.
I agree. Have you ever been cheated on?
I'm sure I have. I'm sure I have. I mean, honestly, when I was younger, I used to think like, if you're with somebody, you're supposed to be super monogamous to them. But some of the things that I've seen and experienced, not even for myself, but for couples in general over the years, it's just like people step out on their vows and their covenant, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why sit up there and get into a union with someone just to go back out there to act single? For all that, be single.
Why do people cheat?
A lack of communication, a lack of actually trying to make things work and taking an easy way out. That's how I feel. Instead of trying to fix things or get to the root of whatever the issue may be, or even having some type of self-awareness and accountability of what's going on, it's always easier to find somebody else that doesn't know you or just accept you who you are because they don't know you.
I agree. But it's another hand to that. There are men and women that will have everything from their mate at home.
Mm-hmm.
They could be financially stable.
Mm-hmm.
They could give them, pleasure. They could be their support system, and they still do it.
Why?
Why?
Honestly, I can't say specifically why, but I will say it's because when you say that you're committed to someone, you have to make that full conscious decision within yourself that I decide that I'm going to be committed to this person, whether it's a marriage, whether it's relationship, whether you're just getting into the relationship. So I'm not going to entertain anything outside of that, In the event that I feel like I'm going to entertain something like that, then you need to have a conversation with your counterpart to say, hey, how can we get back on track, strengthen our union or our unit versus actually opening the door up to anything and everything, and people will have everything that they need from their spouse and their partner, and they'll feel bored or discontent because they're probably bored or discontent within themselves.
Oh, I agree with that. I
You're
definitely
looking for
agree with that.
validation from outside sources versus getting it internally or working with the person that you're with that knows you to help, build up that validation within each other.
Do you believe there are certain women that promote false advertisement?
Expound.
Hmm?
Expound on promote false advertisement.
So they can promote this lifestyle of, hey, listen, being with me, I can be this, that, and that. And it can benefit you on these, on a certain perspective that would benefit the relationship. So when the man actually go and he break his walls down and he pursue this, and then when you get into that situation, it's not that.
It's kind of like the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden,
Okay.
basically, right? Whereas, like, God basically said, you can have anything in this garden, but don't eat the fruit of that tree, right? Now, Eve would have been forgiven for eating the fruit, because Adam is the head of their unit, basically. But because Adam ate the fruit too, now you're equally responsible. Now you both got to go. The woman would have been forgiven because, you're supposed to guide her in a way that she's supposed to go in regards to our patriarchal society. But because you did it too, it's like the blind leading the blind. So, you're going to have to blind your ass on out of here. So
Now hold up. It's
he knew better. And even if she didn't know better, he knew better.
but she didn't tell him it was from that tree.
Do we know that specifically?
We don't. So if we just going by
based off of the story
off
that
the
was
story,
told,
she did not say it was from the tree. She
right?
didn't.
It was implied in the story, like, oh yeah, so I ate this apple. I know we weren't supposed to eat it, but oh my gosh, it's so amazing. You should try it. Adam had the choice at that point to say no. God said we're not supposed to eat this. You'll be forgiven if I don't feed into the temptation with you. But because he fed into the temptation with her, this is y'all punishment.
Now that leads me to my question. Should women be leaders?
Women are good leaders. I believe women. So in regards, women, yes, women should be leaders.
Well, let me rephrase
but
that
there's
question.
two sides. Yeah.
Should women lead men?
Women lead men in certain ways, like men lead women in certain ways. Not a woman doesn't have everything that a man has, and a man does not have everything that a woman has. They're literally halves of a whole. So when you come together, you present that whole, and whatever your strong suits is, you lead in that way. Whatever my strong suits are, I lead in that way.
Do you feel like it's still a man's world?
I feel like it is a man's world because we're still in a patriarchal society, basically. But there has been a breakdown of men over the past 30, 40, 50 years to make them more feminized, to basically disable them. Not all women are emotional. So people be like, oh, women are too emotional to lead and things like that. I think we are more mental people versus physical people. Men are physical creatures. Women are mental people. That's where emotions come into play. Men can get grunt work done, basically, like build this, put that together, things like that. Women are the people that say, okay, well, you need this piece to go for that piece, and this is why it goes together. So you take each portion and then you put it together as a whole. I feel like men and women in their own individual rights are great leaders. But we have to come together to be even more impactful leaders.
Today's women, not all,
Mm-hmm.
but today's women, they are playing a lot of the roles that men used to play.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that shift?
It's a lot of things, social, economical factors in regards to, we can even talk about how the government, especially for African Americans or urban people, broke down the family units to push men out the households to be able to easier influence women to say, hey, I'm a strong woman and I don't need no man. I think we all need each other. But because of that, then there's the school to prison systematic pipeline, which are taking our men and putting them in a prison, which are leaving women alone, basically. I believe men do have a greater factor in regards to creating broken homes because it takes two to tango, you know. We don't impregnate ourselves and y'all can't get pregnant. So that's how it goes. But so it's a lot of number of different things. And now men are becoming more effeminate basically because I guess you could say that their power has been stripped from them, but has it necessarily been stripped from them from women, or has it been stripped from them systematically in regards to what society imposes as rules?
I agree. I gotta honestly say I agree with you. Um, today's men, a lot of them are fighting for custody for their kids.
More power to it, yeah.
You know, once upon a time, the normal thing, if the woman don't want to be with you, she take the house, she take the money, she take the kids.
Now men are fighting back, and it's leveling the playing field. I believe what's fair is fair, whether you're a man or you're a woman. You know, I feel like men should fight for custody of their kids. If a chick is a deadbeat, take her to child support court. Just like if a dude is a deadbeat, take his ass to child support court, or do it, or you know what? Say forget it. I'm gonna just do it for my child myself without the help of a man. Even not going into too much detail about mine. When my son's biological father decided he ain't want to take them roles, you know what I did? I zipped up my bootstraps and I did what I had to do without even having to worry about child support. And child support is another type of tool placed on us or society in whole by the government to set you up to fail. No, I'm not going to sit up here and stress out about what he ain't doing for his child. I'm just going to get it done. Period.
Do you believe that men fear strong-minded women?
I do. I mean, if you're a weak man, then you fear a strong-minded woman, you know, so you're always going to go on a path of least resistance. You know, if a woman is challenging you to be better and you're not ready to acknowledge that or even feel like you have the strength or the energy or the capacity to do so, you're going to go on a path of least resistance. You're going to go with someone that's going to follow you, even if it means following you into the frying pan or the fire. You know, but a strong-minded woman will keep you accountable, keep you on your toes. It's like, you know, pressure makes diamonds, basically. And if you can't stand that pressure, then you're just going to continue to be a cubic zirconia with lesser value.
Do you believe sex before marriage?